Hey everyone, this is Scott from Forgot to Grow Up. Welcome to our Penny Dreadful City of Angels Season 1, Episode 5 Thoughts video. Just finished watching the latest episode of Penny Dreadful City of Angels, and I'm just going to be sharing my general thoughts on the episode. In this episode, everyone's getting it on except for Lewis, and they're also investigating the murder of the cop from last episode, the cop that Mateo had murdered. It's Tiago and Lewis who are investigating it. So yes, this episode, like I said, starts off with everyone just getting it on. We see that, Tiago and Molly finally hook up, and we also see that Mateo hooks up with his two new friends that, encouraged him to murder somebody. I was okay with the murder, but, still. And so, yeah, they're getting on. There was somebody else who got it on. I'm just forgetting now, or later in the episode, some other people got it on. There was a lot of getting on in this episode. That stuck out to me. I wrote that down. It was literally the first note I wrote. So that was a lot of it going on, which always makes me think in a TV episode, especially when it happens multiple times. I'm like, y'all didn't have anything to happen in this episode, which makes sense. This whole episode spent investigating this, the murder of somebody who we already know who the murderer is in this case. We know it was Mateo who killed the cop, and really early on in the episode, we learn, or Tiago learns himself, or suspects at least, that it is Mateo based off of the witness account of the woman who was with the cop at the time when they burst in last episode and killed him. So that was really kind of a so this whole episode was kind of pretty much spent investigating that, and so it was interesting a little bit seeing how Tiago's kind of dealing with this, trying to pretend that this isn't what's happening, trying to find any kind of evidence that it's not his brother who's the murderer of this cop. But then it ends up they eventually find them, and it is Mateo. He and they immediately kind of just confront each other. I'm already talking about the end of the episode because that's how kind of little happened throughout this episode. It's literally Lewis and Tiago investigating. They have to talk to like 3 people before they get to where Mateo and the other guys are staying, and then there's a little chase, and Tiago lets Mateo go, which I like. That part I was happy about a little bit. I'm like, okay, I like a little bit more complication to this brother dynamic, especially since Mateo just assumed that Tiago was just going to shoot him, and it's like, man, Mateo, you gotta learn a little bit. Like, this guy's trying to do his best he can. Tiego's trying to do the best he can, and I get too. Mateo, you're trying to do the best you can with what you're working with. So it's like they just need to be able to walk in each other's shoes a little bit more. Even though one's on the wrong side of the law at the moment. But yeah, that being said, it was a little bit more of an interesting episode than at least last episode. It was still a little bit. It had its moments that were a little more interesting. I like that we explored a little bit, very, very little. It was just literally Tiego's mom explaining to Lewis about Santa Muerte, but we got a little more. We got a little bit. So I gotta accept what I could get, which was a little bit more of the folklore stuff, learning a little bit more about how the different color of figurines. I don't know if figurines the right word for it, but different the little idols of Santa Muerte she had, like how they have the different colors mean different things or represent different types of prayers to her. So that was interesting to kind of learn a little bit more, and then kind of see Lewis's kind of. Oh, I didn't love his response to her gift, which is, it can't hurt. It's like, oh man, come on, you could, like, I do like that he's like, so you're saying you're not Jewish, which I just like. That's just a hilarious kind of line, especially from that guy. I forget the actor's name, but it's a very kind of joke he would make, and so I really enjoyed that little bit. But I didn't love the way he kind of, that he just. I don't like the way he kind of dismisses Tiego's mom's kind of belief in Santa Mortis, especially since it's like, man, you're Jewish, like, you can't respect somebody else's religion just a little bit more. Like, I get you see it as kind of magic and hoodoo, but a little respect. So that I found a little like, well, I guess he showed some respect by being like, it can't hurt, but it's also like, that's a terrible thing to say. You just say thank you. When somebody hands you something that, you say thank you, Lewis. You don't say can't hurt. Like, can't hurt is, I guess, kind of works, but it's more of a thank you. I appreciate the thought that you're giving to me, because it's not about what you think, Lewis. It's about the the thought behind what she's trying to give. Not what the thought of how you interpret it. It's how she's meaning it, how Tiego's mom is meaning it. I'm giving you this Santa Muerte figurine as a sign that I want you to be protected and to feel protected, and he kind of takes it as almost as a joke, almost, and kind of dismissive. And that part I didn't didn't love. It's a very little line, a very little thing. It doesn't change my feelings too much about Lewis. But that being said, I just find it a little dismissive. That's all. That's all. I'm just like, especially considering he is Jewish. I'm just like, being dismissive of somebody else's religion is like a little kind of, hypocrisy, or that's not the right word. It's a little bit of being a little bit of a hypocrite, but that's just a little thought I had about that. But yeah, some of the other like little thing that happened in this episode is we also see that Magna playing as the when she's the blonde lady, pretending to like the doctor guy and manipulating this doctor guy, she, finds some random guy in a bar at the beginning of this episode, takes him home and murders him to, pretend that that guy is her husband, and then order to get Dr. Kraft to come help her hide the body and, help create that bond even more, which I'm still have no idea why that's happening. I still have zero idea why Magna's trying to break up this family, what Dr. Kraft's role in this is. Does it have to do with his ties to the Nazi kind of thing? Is that it? Because that seems to be the only reason, he seems significant at all to, potentially any kind of overall plans at the same time. I don't see the significance of most of the things. I kind of get the counselor's significance. Yeah, he's a politician. He's got control over this, highway project or this motorway project. So it's okay, yeah, I get that, manipulating that kind of control, but and maybe a little bit on the her being Rio. I get that a little bit, kind of manipulating the kind of criminal side of the Mexican element, kind of spurring up that element of it too. So I get those two ones, but I have no idea. The only thing I can think of with Dr. Kraft is that she's gotten him to help her cover up a murder. Then now that's how she's gonna get him to go back to his Nazi ways. I'm kind of confused about it. That's what I'm curious about. That's the only thing that's keeping me around. There's dying curiosity and fascination about what the hell this whole show is supposed to be about, what's going on, what Magna's doing, pretending to be all these different people. But yeah, so overall this episode did do a little bit of a better job of getting me more interested in it. The fact that Tiago and Lewis are actually investigating a crime in this one helped, because that's what their jobs are. They spent the last couple episodes pretending that they were investigating, but Tiago's hooking up with Molly and all this other stuff. So it's okay, this episode was nice because they were actually investigating. We were, diving into the mystery, even though we knew the answer to the mystery, but we were curious about how it was going to turn out. So I did enjoy this episode a little bit more, and I'm going to be continuing to watch at least the rest of this season to just figure out what the hell Magna's up to and what her ties to Santa Muerte, or what it is, why this is significant to having been what the connection is of Santa Muerte to this whole story and Magna's role in all of this and why she's all over the place. So I'm curious about this stuff, but I do have my little hesitations about okay, give me more of the folklore stuff. I want to learn a little bit more about this stuff without having to go look it up myself. So yeah, I did enjoy this episode a little bit more than the last episode, and I'm curious to see where we go from here. But what did you guys think of this latest episode of Penny Dreadful City of Angels? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. Thanks again for joining me today. Sure, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and have a good one.